What was your why? Are you booing me? I'm right moment. The 5 boroughs of New York City are also counties. In 2nd grade I joined the robotics club. One day we were learning about how an animal's bones affect the way animals move, and the teacher asked, "Give me examples about animals with spines." I said snakes. She said snakes are like worms and lack spines. Me saying that Germany has a coastline, and everyone in class, including my teacher, disagreeing. Still remember it over 12 years later. I used to be a hockey ref, so all the F***king time. Grade 7, Canada. We were learning about medieval Japan in social studies class, basically history class. I made a comment that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. A kid said it was the Germans and some people backed him up. Teacher said she forgot who bombed Pearl Harbor, but it wasn't the Japanese. If only smartphones existed back then. I was working on a team of people building a race car. I told them a part that was technically strong enough should be built heavier to handle shock loads from bad track conditions. I got told I was a moron, and it would be fine. Someone else ran the numbers, and it would be fine. So I built the parts, put them on the car, and lo and behold it broke, and the car ended up on its roof. You'd think that would be validation of my opinion, and people would agree that I was right. Not how it happened. I was the asshole, because I built them, so it was my fault. I've had many booed moments, but this is a more recent one. In my science class we were watching a few documentaries about the US space program, and the topic of pollution came up with fuel consumption, and in the midst someone asked about where the parts of the rocket go once they are abandoned by the spacecraft. I commented how it just falls and NASA pretty much just hope that it didn't fall on people. One of the reasons they launch out of Florida or Capes, so the parts end up in the water and not hitting civilization. But nobody believed me, since it would be then that NASA is polluting the ocean. An old coworker tried telling me that all rectangles are squares, but not all squares are rectangles. I then tried explaining that it was the opposite and proceeded to get called stupid by the rest of the staff for about 20 minutes. A professor in undergrad asked what the orbit speed of the space shuttle is. I volunteered 18,000 miles per hour. It's 17.5 miles per hour, and he laughed and said absolutely not, and compared it to the speed of an airliner, 500 miles per hour. F***king idiot. Was working for a political org during an election year. Got a file from another office and they wanted me to run my standard scripts to get them a final direct mail address file. Asked the other office if they wanted me to correct any of the addresses, and they told me to absolutely not change any of their data because it was good. Told them that I really felt like their data needed to be checked, and was told by their office, their management and my management that I should just do as I'm told. In the end, apartment building offices throughout the state received several hundreds of pieces of direct mail from the org. I knew their file didn't have apartment numbers listed for anybody, but I wasn't allowed to change it. A teacher in biology GCSE was discussing a food pyramid of river habitat, and she claimed that 10 spray were at the top of the food chain. I pointed out, "Miss, I think that says 1 osprey." She snarled and said, "Fine. Everyone anon thinks he knows better than me, so now it's 1 spray." The whole class groaned and were muttering as they had to cross out what they'd written and rewrite it, and people on my table were giving me evils and telling me to be quiet. Utterly ridiculous that I even passed that subject. 8th grade. Science class. Teacher was trying to be tricky, or some S***T I guess. Gave us a word problem that was something like, if you dig a hole 3x3x4 in the ground, how much dirt is in the hole? I raised my hand and said nothing. There was no dirt in the hole. Her *SPECIFIC* question was how much *DIRT* was in the hole, not how big the hole was, or what was left. I gave the right answer. There was no *F***king dirt in the hole. She told me I was wrong. I pondered her answer, decided it didn't make sense, then raised my hand again. I was a studious nerd back then. I actually wanted to impress the teacher. I gave the same answer and my reasoning. She said how much dirt? No, she told me I was wrong and stopped putting my hand up. The answer? Yeah, there was air in the hole. F asterisk asterisk king air. I'm still pissed. It's 30 years later, but I've still not forgiven her for embarrassing me and being wrong. 4th grade. We had our first laboratory class and we were learning about the lab instruments and basic safety. We were divided in around 4 tables with 6 students each, and each table had a flask with colored water in it. The teacher told us to by turns each one grab the flask and pretend to mix the liquid by spinning it. The first kid in my table grabs the flask, but in a way that his hand covers the flask's mouth. I tell him such, and that he should grab it by the neck sides instead of the mouth, because if it was acid it could splash to his palm and hurt him. The other kids at my table started calling me a cribber saying that it obviously isn't acid, and that it was only colored water like the one they use in my juice, and they all proceed to hold and mix it improperly. Eventually the teacher teaches us the correct way to hold flasks and mix them. After seeing everyone grab them incorrectly, he tells us to grab them by the neck sides, just like I said, and to not cover the mouth with our hands, because if it was real acid we could get seriously hurt, just like I said. I still get a bit salty when remembering that. My class didn't believe me, teacher included, but he admitted later that he was wrong when I said that 1/3 of the English language come from Normandic French. When I was in 1st grade I said that electricity can be gained via water, hydropower. Everyone started laughing at me until my teacher said, "He is right." The whole class went silent. I was once in a chorus in my community college, and they had interesting social dynamics. It was primarily older white women, who were the alphas of the group. So we were doing a Latin American carol called Vamos Pastorcitas and there was debate between them about the pronunciation of the C. I said the soft C is pronounced like an S. An old lady in the group said it was pronounced like the CH in cheese. I said you're thinking of Italian. In Spanish it's pronounced as an S, or in many European Spanish dialects like a TH. The choral conductor went with her churchy old lady friend and they all pronounced it like Vamos Pastorcitas. It still haunts me to this day. I got downvoted like crazy for saying that a nurse told me that cold water and soap kills germs, just as well as hot water when washing your hands. Linked some sources and everything. Then people started calling me a troll. Me telling grade 11 university high school students it's not unrealistic to know basic conversion factors, i.e. 1 km equals 1000 meters. Edit. I should clarify, which is gonna make this that much worse. This is in Canada, where the metric system is a thing. Once in middle school, the teacher said that carnivore dinosaurs like the T-Rex appeared in the Jurassic era. Then I said that the T-Rex was actually from the Cretaceous period. The teacher and some students said that I was wrong because it's called Jurassic Park and S***T. On the next day I brought some sources from the internet that agreed with me and the teacher corrected herself after doing some quick search on her own, but that didn't stop me from getting nicknamed Dinosaur in class. I forgot Pluto on my list of planets in 3rd grade. Got a B+ instead of an A. Should gotten extra credit. Hoss laughing now. MOTHERF***KERS. When I was in 8th grade I made the apparently controversial statement that the number 2 is 2/3 of the number 3. I had 5 people try and convince me otherwise by doing long division on the board and saying, "See, it's not 2/3, it's 0. 66 repeating. Bunch of mouth breathers." In 5th grade we have a problem on math class with mirroring images. It asked if you are driving in a car and look in the rear view mirror, how would you see the ambulance emblem if an ambulance car was driving behind you? I said you would see ambulance because, at least in my country, those signs are intentionally put on mirrored so you can see it normally in a mirror. Everyone said I was stupid, even the teacher. I still remember it after 8 years. That concentration camps and extermination camps weren't the same thing under the Nazis. Americans liberated concentration camps, but never an extermination camp, as extermination camps were all in the East. I guess that really pissed off a lot of people when I said it. I've worked in technical support for over 20 years. It happens to me on a weekly basis. Usually it's the network admins trying to prove me wrong. They're the biggest divas in the IT industry. Yes, your precious network is misconfigured. No, I don't care how many certifications you have. When I suggested in high school that the science fair should be voluntary and not mandatory, since 90% of the people in the class do their projects at the last minute with their parents doing almost all of it, the teachers and my classmates told me I was wrong and how valuable the science fair was. Lo and behold, the day the projects were due, literally everyone was complaining as to why it was mandatory, since they did their projects at the last minute with their parents doing all of the work. I loved maps, and the first time I spotted Iceland my classmates disagreed when I called it Iceland, and they say that it's called asterisk asterisk AI-land. Asterisk asterisk. They dismissed me and wouldn't even look. Still remember it to this day. Edit. Told them there exists a country called Iceland. They keep shutting me down and say it's AI-land. Island. The question in history class was who sacked Rome, and I raised my hand and answered the Visigoths. Everyone laughed along the lines of that's a ridiculous name, there's no such thing as the Visigoths, and that the Vandals sacked Rome, which is where we get the word vandalism from. While yes, the Vandals did sack Rome, so did the Visigoths in the year 410. I recently decided to retire from a somewhat dangerous profession in order to better look after my mental health. But a lot of people didn't like it and thought I owed it to them to keep working. When my grandmother fell over last month, she was told at her age having her hip broken this bad would require surgery. We were all in the room. My mother said she can't have surgery, she'll die. I instantly say better off early than stretching it out. Grandma laughed. Nobody else did. My friend thinks that the Voyage 1 is outside our galaxy. Just because it's an interstellar space, he thinks that means outside the galaxy. I'm gonna start this off by saying I'm terrible at most sports. Something I'm good at, though, is tactics. Anyways, I live in a country that is not famed for baseball. In fact, baseball isn't really all that known here. But for some reason, my high school continues to this day to include baseball in its curriculum. Safe to say, none of the teachers or students had anything but a basic grasp of the game. However, thanks mostly to my granddad, people in my family actually played and coached baseball at points in their lives. And although it never really played, I knew how the game worked. But there is one moment that stands out. My class was playing baseball, and I was chosen to be the pitcher. Now I can throw very well, but I managed to strike out 3 people in the first inning, which I thought was pretty good considering we were losing. Well, my friends thought otherwise and told I was cheating. They got the teacher involved, and I was banned from pitching for the rest of the match. I still don't understand. When my teacher asked to see on which finger I lost a nail, so I showed him my middle finger. In grade 7, when I said Czechoslovakia wasn't a country anymore, this stupid teacher and most of my classmates thought I was stupid because of this one inaccurate online map from the 1980s said there still was Czechoslovakia. I was on a canoe trip and had spent the first half of the day paddling down the river at a grueling pace. It was the mid-afternoon and a linter site along the river was spotted and empty. Keep in mind, this was a fairly large canoe trip group, about 35 people. We had tents, but these tents could only accommodate about 20 people, so a lean-to was needed to accommodate the rest. Dark clouds were beginning to fill the sky, and I called out that it was a good idea to make camp at the lean-to site. But the cocky trip leader demanded we push on, and so did everyone else. I still tried to push my proposal, but it never got far. The next lean-to site was another 4 miles upriver, 4 very tough miles upstream. A massive thunderstorm came down upon us, and we got drenched before collapsing at the lean-to site that evening. Unfed too. The lean-to site was already occupied by another camping group, and it was impossible to build a fire as all the wood was wet, so the entire group had to eat dehydrated spaghetti and meatballs cold, and try to keep warm. I was forced to sleep outside with about 14 others in the rain. Adding to the troubles, upon waking up one of the tents got crushed by a fallen tree limb and broke the leg of a group member. The pickup destination was still another 16 miles away, so the entire grueling day was spent paddling towards the pickup destination while it still rained and while my canoe leaked badly after crashing into some rocks. All because of that stupid trip leader. A chemistry teacher in high school once very solemnly warned students of the dangers of dihydrogen monoxide. My dad had told me this joke before, so I knew where it was going. While she was going on about how it causes flooding, thousands of annual deaths, and has even leaked into the water supply in high enough doses, it's poisonous, I started cracking up in the back. Literally everyone in class looked at me like I was a sadist, and one girl asked real seriously, why are you laughing? Until the teacher started laughing too. She had me come to the front of the class and write out the chemical formula for the whole class, where they learned that dihydrogen monoxide equals H2O equals water. Also, got into an argument with a kid in the 6th grade that 100 times 100 was 10,000 and not, in fact, 1,000. When I put it on a calculator, he said the calculator was wrong. Then we asked a custodian passing by, and she agreed with him that 100*100 equals 1000. Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily content. Thanks for watching.